Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday evening. Time to gather in the music room. But first, as always, a little music. Enjoy.
We are all the heirs to Scotland, as a nation proudly stand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let a flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. To the world we bid a welcome in 1,000 different ways. We will toast to long lost friendships as we build our better days. In the glens and cities, there on every street are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. We are all the heroes of Scotland. We're a nation hand in hand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum.
Good evening, folks. Hope you're doing fine. Cozy, comfy, and safe. Nice to see you all here, as always. It's always nice to see you. So, lots of things happening in the world, eh? Lots of bad things happening in the world, but there's always bad things happening in the world. Well, thanks for that, Streaky Bacon. I am really happy you streamed tonight. Thank you, Mucker, says our friend Streaky Bacon. Got to be very careful with the old Lucozade here. A couple of months ago, I was doing exactly what I'm doing now. and I spilt the Lucozade all over the keyboard. You can imagine the mess the keyboard was in. Hey, looking sharp, John, says Steve. Well, thank you very much, Steve. Considering that I was diagnosed today as having a blood clot in my leg. How about that? Yeah, that's right. It used to be wrapped in plastic. Plastic. Very true indeed. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that plastic wrapper, to be honest. Crinkly, John. Yeah, well, of course, it then became very problematic using keyboards. Well, thank you, Streaky, for that. Sorry to hear that. I was sorry to hear that myself. Yeah, I've got blood thinning tablets, Tremoline. I don't know if for life or not. They say at least for 6 months. What can I say? What can I say? But there you go. Okay, folks. A bit slow in the uptake tonight. Maybe there's lots going on that I'm not aware of. No, it's not warfarin. It's another one, Streaky. My son tells me that warfarin has become a bit problematic in terms of safety. So they don't use that one. I've got some other one. But I can tell you this much, and I'm sure you probably know this. The pain is incredible. It really is. So long as I don't have the pain, that's the main thing. As I keep telling doctors, I need to be functional. You need to help me to become functional again. I've got too much to do. I've got too many things that I want to get complete before I shuffle off this mortal coil. And I can't do them unless I'm functional, and I need to be functional. Bless you, John. I've got lots of things I need to do. And I did one yesterday, by the way. Our local newspaper never comes out on a Saturday or a Sunday for anything. I think it would take a group of terrorists with submachine guns in the centre of the town before the newspaper reporters and photographer came out to report on such a thing. Otherwise, you can't get them. Which means, of course, it means that If there's anything happening over the weekend, or you plan something over the weekend, you're not going to get any coverage on it from the newspapers. Now, in our business, i.e., good evening, Gavin. Oh, we definitely need to do that, Steve. We all need to meet up, that's for sure. And there's William. Good evening, William. Yeah, I was just saying, yeah. It means that anything that I try and plan in the way of publicity for the party, even if it is on the weekend, I have to then arrange it to happen before the weekend. Otherwise, we won't get coverage. So this week, of course, I wouldn't get coverage on the 11th, being Saturday. So what I did was I arranged to get coverage on the 9th. We'll get something arranged at some point, Trevor M. I know we will. We need to. Even if it's just my week. So, a group of us were in the cemetery with our wreath. The local paper did come eventually, a bit late, but they came. And we'll get coverage for it. And that's what I mean. There's no way that they would cover that on a Saturday or a Sunday. They just won't do it. So you've got to arrange round that. And that's what I did last year, and that's what I've done this year. So I thought I would let you see the rough photographs that I've got. There is also oh, thank you, Doc. I hope you can see that. I really do hope you can see it. There we go. I think that's as big as I can make it. Not as big as I can make it. Yeah, that's as big as I can make it, folks. Well, this is my auntie on the far. Well, as you look at the photograph, it's the right of the photograph. I hired a paper. Well, it's nice to hear these things, folks. It is. So yeah, I used party money and hired this paper here, and he came along and played the flower of the forest. A beautiful lament, of course. So I don't know what you make of the photograph, but that's as big as I can make it. Yeah, it won't go anymore. That's a shame. Well, I've got a close up of the wreath, Treble Emmy. You'll see that shortly. So, what have we got next? Well, this is another photograph of me and my auntie Mary. There you go. That's me and my auntie Mary. Well, thank you, Linda. And you can see the monument in the background. I've got the local reporter interested in finding out what happened to the original monument. See if we can dig up a second story. So was it really? Was it really that long? I don't remember it being that long. I think there's a certain truth to that as well. I do. I do believe that. Streaky. So this is my last auntie. My auntie Mary. You hear me talk about her, of course. Where else have we got? So I say these are the raw photographs. What I will do eventually is I'll eventually put them on Photoshop and crop them. And enlarge the images so that you can see a little clearer. I had no control over the photograph. So there you go for that. Not many more. So I say there is one of the Piper actually playing, but I haven't managed to get that. Well, this is just another one of Auntie Mary now. It's just another one. I think it's just the expressions are slightly different here. Yeah, that's all it is. Good evening, Dominic. So there you go. That's that. That's just as I say, the expression's slightly different, but you won't really see it at that size. But rather than keep you waiting to see these photographs, I thought I'd let you see the raw photographs, and then you can see them again once I've dealt with them on Photoshop. Here's the flowers by themselves, and you'll see how beautiful the wreath is. Oh, I think the wreath is worth every penny we paid for it. It's the same shop that did it last year. So I was quite happy last year, but I think they've actually outdone themselves this time. Don't ask me, Linda. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. I just asked for the red and the green. It could be. It could very well be that carnations, Linda. I don't know. And I made a speech, very short speech, but I made one, and it still hasn't been transferred yet. You'll see all of this in time when I get a chance to deal with it all. Well, I think the wreath is pretty good. Last one. So there you are. That's it on the monument. Dedicated to the everlasting memory of the citizens of Greenock who died as a result of the air raids 1940 1941. Good evening, Susie Thomas. So there you go for that, folks. As I say, there are a few more, but they're not worth putting up. So that's what I was doing on Thursday morning. The piece, of course, will not appear in the newspaper until next week at the very earliest. Again, you'll get to see that when I've got it. I'm sure you'll approve. I think it was money well spent. It will be from the publicity that we get from it. And it is nice to remind people because these people did live. These people did have lives. Not only did they have lives, they had relatives, all sorts of relatives that were left behind, mourned. And we can't forget them just because they didn't wear a uniform. We can't forget them. That's why it's important. The reason why I go on about this original headstone is the fact that it's quite possible that there are families in the town now who don't know that they've got relatives in this communal grave because the story never got passed down for some reason. And so there could be lost stories there. Well, there shouldn't be trouble, Streaky. Will there be trouble? There'll be attempts at it, that's for sure. Because it's something else that our enemies want to destroy. The tradition of it, the reason why we do it, why it is important that we do it. People want to destroy all that. It's part of our culture. And it's all of this stuff is completely out of hand. It's out of control. It really is. It would need a strong line to be taken rather. Well, obviously, I will not be there. I think anyone who goes is got to be very careful if you do decide to go. We all know that people go there. There are people who go there deliberately to make trouble, to cause trouble, who are trouble. You shouldn't allow yourself to be kindling sticks for their itch to cause trouble. I think I don't know. I don't know London, so I'm probably speaking in complete ignorance here when I say this. Uh, if I lived in London and I wanted to to memory, or to remember, should I say. Uh, there must be other monuments elsewhere in London, smaller and smaller monuments where it would be a much quieter place. But I don't know. There may be monuments inside cemeteries because I know there's several cemeteries in London. I don't know if that's a possibility. Or just go elsewhere. I think what Duck's saying is the wisest thing. It's better to be safe. You don't do our cause any good by becoming embroiled in one of these confusions and deliberate. Well, they just deliberately cause people to get angry and hopefully start fisticuffs. That's where we have to avoid becoming embroiled in any of this. So that the only people who do become embroiled are Zionists and Muslims. Well, Streaky, what an absolute tragedy for Great Britain when the world sees our Remembrance Day violated by multiculturalism. But I'm sure you're well aware, as I am, that throughout Europe there is beginning of real movement, real stirring from the people, not the politicians, the people, to move these people out of our countries. It's a real movement now, and it will grow. It has to happen here. Because it has the same effects here as it has elsewhere. No one can say now there isn't a disaster. Multiculturalism. No such a thing. Never existed anywhere. Doesn't exist. Of course it wouldn't be, Streaky. Can you imagine this shit tolerated in Russia? Of course not. Because they have a strong sense of who they are, an incredibly strong sense of their own history, despite what the poor buggers have been through with communism. Despite that, and perhaps that's part of the reason they have it. And again, that's where our party scored, because we did it in a communal grave dedicated to the civilians, rarely visited, rarely recognized, or barely recognized. And by us doing it, it highlights it and brings it into sharp focus. Now, I know over the weekend all the focus will be in the local Well Park, where the big monument is, but we won't be there. I've never been there. Anytime I've been anywhere, it's been the one that you were looking at in the photographs. So I would encourage local stuff. Got a notice there, distracted me. Sorry about that. What's this? Streaky. I have seen this in Europe. I was watching a stream with a politician from the AfD in Germany an hour ago. I hope this is not another false dawn. I don't think it is. I think there is a genuine movement. There's a genuine awakening among some people, not all people, a long way to go, but among some people is better than no one. And it will spread and grow. And it will happen here, especially with the likes of this. Because that's one thing that usually unites people in this country, or used to unite people in this country, was the 11th. It was regarded as an enormous sin, if you like, to even speak against the whole idea of Poppy Day and what it stood for. So for that to be dragged through the mud doesn't sit well. It might sit in some people silently, but it will not sit well, and it won't sit forever. If anything's likely to awaken people, it'll be this: the behaviour towards the cenotaphs and the whole remembrance, because of what it stands for. Okay, this is what I'm trying to do up here. And if anyone who is a party member, and even if you're not a party member, and you've got some idea about drawing attention to nationalism in the way that I'm doing it, in a positive way that gets good publicity, and it's not as difficult as you think, get in touch with me. We could get together and organise something. John, you're looking good, sweetheart. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Exactly. People will not tolerate it. They just won't. When you go back to the First World War, almost every family had somebody die or severely wounded. It's a lot of people connected. I will never forget what they did to the vets during lockdown, especially here. Yeah. But this country's always treated their vets badly. Always. Just never gets any real attention. Gets attention now and then, but no real attention. And it shouldn't even need attention. It should be a whole series of steps and safety nets all there and already in place to take care of vets. Surely that's got to be part of the package. And we all agree, of course, that there shouldn't be wars. We all know that. But we need a standing army, folks. If I was in power, we'd have a standing army. Just because I'm against war doesn't mean say that I don't understand the need for an army. Of course, I understand that need. But there's two kinds of armies you can have: offensive or defensive. If I had my way, it'd be a defensive army. And that's built on very different principles. And that's what we need in this country, Ireland, a defensive army. And then we have to take care of them. But there again, if we had a defensive army, there would be no need for them to be abroad and less chance for them to get into harm's way. But we still need to look after them, though. The ends is all they care about, John, says Doc. Yeah, I know that. This is what you get when you get professional politicians whose sons or daughters are never going to be anywhere near bullets and guns. It's always us, the ordinary people, who die. That's what I said in my speech yesterday. It's always us, the ordinary people. And what do we get out of the war? What do we get from it? What did we get from the First World War? What was the benefits that the men came home to? What was the benefits that the men came home to from the Second World War? Huh? I don't know of any, because there weren't any. This country is so afraid of us, the people, and you can check this if you like. But after the First and Second World War, it took them years to demob everyone from the army or from the military. They were so afraid. They made sure that every single gun was collected back. They kept them in Europe and brought them back in dribs and drabs because they're so afraid. They are so afraid of us. That's why they would crap themselves if we ever got a hold of guns and bullets. That's why I've changed my mind on that subject years ago, because I came to realize that you need to be able to defend yourself. We can't do that. That's why they're having such a hard time in the USA, because people have got ways to defend themselves. And I envy that. I think it's the it's the thing that stands between chaos in America and what they have. If somehow they could get those guns off people, the Western world would be finished. It'd be over. I'm always cheering on the gun lobby, because so long as they've got those guns, they will not be able to completely destroy the American societies. And I think Americans know this. I don't think they're that stupid. I think they know they need to keep their guns. I wish we were in that position, but we're not. We have to find other solutions. And that's more difficult than it sounds. Not impossible. Streaky, have you seen any of the GOP presidential debates recently? No, I haven't. America is totally controlled by small hats. It was emphasizing, yeah, best Yankees keep their guns for sure. Oh, yeah. I'm quite well aware, Streaky, that the small hats, as you call them, are in charge for the moment. But I don't know if any of you watch a man called Ritter, Scott Ritter. Oh, that happened a long time ago, in a much more innocent age. It has terrible consequences now. Well, Americans could see that. Right. So I think Scott Ritter he's fortunate in the sense that he lives and is an American. So he can say things that I can't say. And he's been saying a lot of important things that haven't, they should have been said 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. Oh, you're leaving us, William? Yeah, okay. And what Scott Ritter is talking about is Jewish exceptionalism, that it has to come to an end. And he's quite right, of course. Along with Zionism, it has to come to an end. And it's very refreshing. I find it very refreshing that here is someone who has the courage, and he still needs the courage to say it. All right. Sorry, Doc. Yeah, I'm looking for people, party members or not party members, who are willing to go into their own community and do something. Become active, not necessarily in a direct political way, but the kind of things that I'm attempting to do, which are not directly political, but have spin offs. Because, as I've said over and over again, if people know what your politics are, and even if they don't, and you become active in your community, let's say you become involved in a rugby club, say, right? Some amateur rugby club, and you become involved in that, helping out, doing things. Then you're going to meet new people. And eventually, politics is going to come up in the conversations. And then you have the opportunity to quietly put your point of view forward, to people who you may not ever get to speak to otherwise. If you're a party member, then you can pick particular policies and talk about them. That's what I meant. But obviously, there's no point in becoming involved in the community unless it's something that you're interested in and you want to do. I mean, for example, the local hospital here they've got a big advert permanently up in the entrance asking for volunteers, people to do various different chores with trolleys, going around selling crisps and Coke and all that sort of stuff. They're always looking for volunteers. But my point is, if you were doing that and you were wearing one of these badges because you were a party member, you would be like me when I was in. They would start asking what the badge is. And you'd be able to tell them what the badge represents. This is the People's Party. This is their symbol. And then they would ask, what's that? Never heard of that one. Blah, blah, blah. And you're on the conversation that you want to be on without having pushed it. And that's what I mean. And people see then, oh, look at that. That's Jeannie or Jimmy. And they're volunteering, they're helping out in the hospital here, and they belong to that party. That's interesting. That makes you and what you represent on a political level quite different from anyone else. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not suggesting for a minute that people do the kind of things I'm trying to do. I'm saying you need to look at yourself and what you're interested in and what you might be willing to do on a voluntary basis, because it needs to be on a voluntary basis. You need to be involved in the community. And how you behave, how you conduct yourself becomes a reflection of your politics. It just does, whether you like it or not. And that's how you draw people to your political ideas. I've lived too long, folks, and watched too many other people thinking that they're going to get somewhere by taking to the streets and fighting. Not necessarily because they started the fight, but other people started to fight for them. And that's the other problem with it. What I'm saying is, you have to become part of the community. Although you are part of the community, you have to become active in the community by finding something that you want to do, even if it isn't already being done, and trying to get something going. But if it's something as straightforward as football or rugby or cricket or something, then that makes it all more easier. So I hope that makes it nice and clear. An organised approach. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. That whole thing with the cemetery it draws attention to that grave and what that grave represents. And well, at the moment it's a mystery of who else is in it. I know who's in it because we were brought up with that story. But that draws attention to that. And it also, I mean, forces people, if you like, to ask the question of themselves. I wonder if I've got anybody in there. Are you raising awareness all the time? I've never heard of that party. I wonder who they are. Why has no one else ever done this? Well, I wasn't aware of that, to be honest, Streaky. This is similar to what BA are doing. I didn't know that. I don't know what they're up to. You know, obviously, so much the better. Marches will only produce results when there are thousands of you to march. That's my opinion. I wouldn't ask people to march unless there were thousands of us. This approach, well, I've just coming to that, oddly enough, Streaky. A good idea is PA doing food handouts. Well, I'm just coming to that, oddly enough. And that's because we're drawing close to Christmas. And what I was going to ask of you, party members and non-party members, is how would you feel about making a donation to the local food bank organization? It's run by one of the churches in the town. And my idea would be that everybody donates a certain amount of money, whatever you can afford. I put the money in an envelope, go along and hand it over. That's right, Steve, what I was talking about to you the other day. Correct. I was speaking to not only yourself, but someone else and my sister Alison. And so far, it's been a big thumbs up. Laura as well, big thumbs up. Why? Because it's straightforward. It's easy for me to organise, and it's easy to do because they're local and they're in this town centre. But rather than get involved in food buying, just hand over the money and let the volunteers do that, because they'll know what's needed, what's demand, and that's perfect for the kind of thing I'm talking about. Because come the new year, hopefully February, I'll be back in organising the chess tournament. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at trying to become a regular in the local paper, being involved in this, I suppose you could call it charity work. Well, that's right. As I say, this is simple to do. And each of you, party member or no party member, could do this too in your own hometown. And again, you draw attention not only to yourself, but who you are and what you represent. That's how we gather strength. That's how we grow. By showing people, our own people, who we are and what we stand for, long before we get any public office. Good God. It was so funny last week in Sainsbury's. Junkie Bird came in shouting nonsense. Then two kids on a scooter drove through the store as chaos ensued. And I had butter, patty, deodorant, and a tube of Fixodent. Oh, I tell you. But you get the point, folks. You get the point if you all did something. Party member, no party member. Now, I know that it's not possible for everyone. I know that. Good evening, Toffee. Good evening, sir. I just I just don't want it to be me. Only me. I want it to be as many of us as possible to be doing these things. That's how we will grow. These this kind of action, if you like, if you want to call it that, will draw more people to us than standing in a pub arguing. That's my view. Because you're not doing anything direct. You're not directly talking about politics. That whole wreath laying ceremony yesterday had nothing, and I said nothing about politics. But the message is there. People see it, and it's not lost on them. And likewise with the food bank idea. This will not involve the local telegraph, of course. I will just take the cash along and hand it over. But word of mouth will spread what we did, who we were, and what we did. And that's just as potent, perhaps more potent than the telegraph, because it requires no action from me. So, this is it then. If you agree that this is a good idea and this is what we should do, then from tonight onward, any money that comes in via Buy Me a Coffee will definitely go into the fund for the food bank for Christmas. So that there's no confusion at my end. Now, I got a donation the other day, and the person who sent the donation knows who they are. So thank you very much for that cash donation. Uh, and that will now become part of the food bank fund. Hopefully, we can make that go as far as Christmas week. I would like it to go as far as Christmas week before we hand anything over, so there is as much as possible there. Food is always going to be welcome at that time of the year. Look, small victories, like take your pick, are needed. When people achieve these, then they recognize that bigger is not only possible, but achievable too. I agree. I agree. I really do. And this kind of activity leaves our opponents helpless because what could they do? How can they condemn it? They can't. They've got to sit there helpless and hope, and scratch their head trying to think of things to come up with. Excuse me. But the here is we were in first. And people remember that as well. Who was first to do this? How did this get started? Oh, that was the People's Party, that lot. That's who started that. Second is no good in this. You've got to be first. It leaves your opponent with clawing at air. They can't do anything. So we have this already established. I did it last year, as you well remember, laying the reeve. We got really good press last year. I'm expecting at least the same good press this year. And I've added to it, I've made it bigger by having the paper. I will have the paper again. So if we do this at Christmas, that'll be something else. And then we'll have a chess tournament in the early new year. And the idea is to add to that so that we have the whole year, if you like, whole calendar year is covered by events that we organise. And that in itself will grow. None of this is wasted. People take note all the time of what you're up to. You don't think that, but they do. Freezing up here, folks. I'm always cold. Always cold. Streaky, I hope it's not too late for localized movements to flourish before the WEF ban everything. My faith in humanity is almost going after seeing COVID and the vax transform the public into zombies. I know what you mean, Streaky. But we don't have any choice. What is the alternative? No, the alternative is nothing. And I'm just not made to be doing nothing. Even if it doesn't get me anywhere, I've got to feel as though I'm doing something useful. Well, as I keep saying, Steve, I've got things to do. I've got goals that I want to achieve before I throw off this mortal coil. I'm telling you one of them. And that's one of them, to have the party involved in something throughout the year. Something that brings us positive PR. I haven't got everything worked out yet in my head. Of course I haven't. As you all know, I've been ill for such a while. Yeah, that's it, Steve. Just by streaming, you're doing something useful, John. I know you say that, and I know you mean it when you say it. And I know Steve's right. However, there's always a however with me. It's not how I feel about it. I don't feel as though I'm doing as much as I should by streaming. Yeah, it's got great benefits for me personally and hopefully for you lot. But the party has got to grow. And it's got to have these seasonal flags where we are doing something positive in the public eye that draws attention to our cause and what we stand for. It's going to take time for me to work out ideas. That's why I was saying earlier, If you've got ideas, you could share them with me. They might fit my situation, they may not. But we should all be doing something. And there will be people amongst us who are not capable of doing anything because of health, because of age, possibly. And that's fine. We'll all have to do our best. So that's me get more pills, by the way. Thanks to that. More pills. So I hope you all do agree with donating cash for the food bank for Christmas. You can make one donation or you can make as many as you wish, as many as you can afford. And we'll keep that going up until Christmas week. And we'll see how much money we can gather together. And it's very badly needed around here, I can assure you. There's a lot of deep poverty here. That's why these things like food banks exist. It's dreadful. So there you go. I'm going to finish there and leave you with the thoughts that I've gone over tonight. The world needs some toffeettes. Well, I enjoy it and I miss it. But I've got to remind myself I've got a serious illness, which means I can't just do what I eat. Well, again, thank you, Streaky. Consider I spent the whole afternoon in the hospital today. But that was very uplifting for me. Well, let me just tell you briefly why I say that. I know the National Health Service is always getting put down. And that is this horrendous pain in my right leg, which is the hip that has arthritis. And I didn't do it about it yesterday because I had this presentation to be done in the cemetery. So I did it today. I phoned the surgery, and eventually the uh, the nurse came round. The uh, the nurse that is attached to the surgery, and of course examined the leg, said that I think, Mr. Davidson, that you've got a blood clot in your leg. And I kind of thought that myself, but didn't want to think about it too much. But anyway, I told her right off the bat that I wasn't going into hospital. I just wasn't going back. I'd had enough. And she says, well, I'll see what I can do. I'll phone you back. Now, the surgery is just down the street, a 2-minute walk. So off she goes. A short time later, the phone rings and it's the nurse. She says, I've managed to get you an appointment. Well, this is what I'm talking about, Toffee. How I haven't been able to walk. And she said, I've managed to get you an appointment for an ultrasound so I can find out for sure if you've got a blood clot or not. I said, right, 3 o'clock. Yeah, brilliant. So off I went to the hospital, straight into the x-ray department, announced that I was here. I showed right into the treatment room where I was immediately ultrasound the leg, only to confirm the worst, that I do have a blood clot on my right leg. I'm then promptly sent up to Jye North Ward to see the expert in this field. So up I go, spoke to this man by the name of Alec, who's the local expert. And eventually works out the kind of pills that I should be taking and all the ramifications and the things to watch out for, etc., etc. So, so there I was, 4 o'clock. I was here. Yeah, I was here. I was back in the house for 4 o'clock. Nah, later than that. No, it was more like 4:30. With the pills, with the prescription. Now, consider that started this morning. I think that's damn good. I was impressed, pleased, and impressed, because now I've got these pills over the weekend to get a start on it all. So hopefully, Toffee, the walking will improve the longer I take these pills, and the inflammation and swelling and all that goes down. But the pain has been horrendous. So lovely to see you and hear your message. Very inspiring, says Linda. I hope it does more than inspire. I hope it motivates people into action of some sort. I really do. The more action we become involved in, it has its own motivation as well, and it will create more as well. You'll be running around Paisley like Linford Christie in no time, John, says Toffee. Couldn't do it beforehand. Can I buy some of them pills? Streaky. I need to look as refreshed as you. Well, thank you. I appreciate these kind words. Well, again, from my point of view, I was looking at it. What I had been doing, folks, is I'd been taking my normal medication, which is 10 milligrams of morphine, right, for the arthritis. Well, it's been put up to 15, but because of this horrendous pain, I had started to add to that Brufen tablets over the counter, and it was taking the pain away, which was terrific. But I was concerned that it might interfere with the chemotherapy treatment that I'm taking. And that's why it was important to get all this checked properly. And I'm glad I did, because I shouldn't be anywhere near Brufen with my condition. So that's helped as well, the fact that I've got the proper medication now, and I know what to take to reduce any pain that I've got should I need to do something like that without causing any damage. So it was important, and that's why I was pleased and really surprised that this was all done today. I mean, that's quite remarkable to me that this was all done in a day. So well done, the National Health Service here. And I'm sure as the days go on, I'll know an improvement, and I'll get to the point where I can walk about again. That's why you see in the photographs I've got my cane with me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to stand there. And if you look at the photographs, you'll see that I'm genuinely leaning into the cane. I'm genuinely using it. So, what else can I say? But they're doing their best, folks, to keep me functional as I asked them to. Uh, and what else can you ask if they're doing their best? Well, that's it, Streaky. You actually, National Health get a lot of bad press, and they do. But sometimes they can be great. Absolutely. And today was a good example. I mean, this nurse just would not let it go with the fact that I said, no, I'm not going near the hospital. Oh God, toffee. I've got a bit of an allergy to Brufen. Makes me vomit. Oh glory. Well, I was told today that this is bad for your tummy. It cause your tummy a lot of real problems. Obviously, you need to overdo it. Well, I haven't. It's only in the last couple of days I've been taking this Brufen, and it's only one a day. But I'm happier now that I'm taking the correct thing, and I know what to add to it if I need it. Streaky, if you could get in touch with Elon Musk, he would sort you out with what you needed for a new body. Perhaps AI intelligence. Yeah, very good, Streaky. Here we are. I don't think that's the future of humanity I want to see. So there you go, folks. That was my interesting and productive day. And tomorrow I expect to feel a bit better, and every other day. Next Thursday, I'm back at the chemotherapy. And that was another reason why I wanted this attended to as quickly as possible. Because I don't want this interrupted now that it's so formally up and running. And that's where I'll be next Thursday. So there isn't much chance of me doing a live stream next Thursday. Robojoy. Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed that film actually, Robocop. First one. I thought it was quite good. Quite liked it. Good villain. Comes down to the villains, doesn't it? So anyway, I want to thank you all for being here. I know it hasn't been terribly deep and thoughtful, but I've enjoyed it. Oh, it definitely is. Robocop. Absolutely. Second one's pretty crap, sad to say, but there you go. Ah. So anyway, folks, you all have a good weekend. I think I might be having a visitor at the weekend. Someone who has appeared on the stream. Not quite sure whether he'll appear or not. He'll be made most welcome if he does, of course. But we will not be going anywhere, that's for sure. Unless it's dry and well enough, I could light a fire. Out the back. Soylent Green. Oh, yeah. Pretty decent film. So remember what I was saying to you all. Consider this donation for the food bank. Consider what you could do in a way of volunteering. And somehow we all have to get together. Don't ask me how, but we have to get together somehow. Well, you do a phone in, Toffee. I tried that, never went anywhere. Just tried that years ago. Just didn't work for me. Ahead of my time, I suppose. But I have a good one. Main thing is to enjoy it. So anyway, as I always say, folks, adios, au revoir, cheerio, and until next time, sometime next week, don't ask me when, all being well, I will stream again. So until then, take care, enjoy your weekend. Don't forget, send some stream and all the other streams over the weekend, which I cannot remember anymore. So take care, folks. Bye just now.
Silently the snow falls, paints a winter scene, swiftly spreads the dark rim, hides a fading autumn green. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, conjure friendships dear to me. Lightly now the breeze flows, disturbing more than just the leaves. But life's much more than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow. Patiently the love grows, lifts the weary heart. Gently now she holds me, melts two worlds once apart. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, usher dreams of you and me. Softly then the breeze blows, disturbing more than just the trees.
All together now.
But love's much more
So much.
than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow. Melodies of long ago, songs of innocence, harmonies to soothe the soul, paths of consequence. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, awakening joys of you and me. Silently the snow falls, bringing winter symphony.
All together now.
But we're much more
So much.
than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow. But life's much more than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow.